Yes, forever evil! The DC Universe will now, until the end of time, be forever evil! Or at least until this, event ran out. Then it's back to normal. Well, as normal as the 52 ever was. Lazy Dude 99. Lazy Dude time, and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. Talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the review. Hello everyone, I'm Lazy Dude 99 and welcome to another comic book review. I want to apologize to say how long it has been since I gotten my last review out. I am sorry about that, but you know what, I don't want to take up too much time on that. I'm going to try to get more comic reviews out at a more regular pace. So let's talk about Forever Evil. And why Forever Evil? Mostly because this is one of the few things in the New 52, these events that they have done, that I have actually really enjoyed. I mean, it seems like whenever they're doing any little event, it has to take over half or most of the DC universe. You know, Court of the Owls took over all of the Batman books and all the books that even involved just a vigilante. 0 Year and took over all of the books for a while. Not really a fan of either one of those expanded things, but what happened in Forever Evil, I loved. I really liked, I liked a lot of it. Some stuff, maybe not so much, but most of it, I found this to be a really thoroughly enjoying read. And this trade collects the main story that was going on, I believe, in the Justice League comics. In any case, this starts off right after Trinity War, which is spoilers for Trinity War, but what happened in that story, you end up seeing that there was this evil force behind a whole bunch of things going on, and it turns out that it was the crime syndicate, who come from another universe and are parallel versions of the Justice League. And so they come into the DC universe, and then they trap all of the heroes, and then they basically take over the world. So we follow Lex Luthor throughout this story as he sees the Syndicate take over the world, how he plans to his counterattack the people that join him along the way, and the different battles as he has to go through. I must admit, it is so much fun to see villains done well. You know, it's hard to see villains as your main character, especially when they're doing evil things, because you got, like, in the very beginning of this book, we got Lex Luthor extortioning out this other guy, and he's wanting his company, and he's threatening him, and he's threatening his family, and his company, and his good image, and he's doing this nasty thing, you know, really not nice, underhanded type things. And, you know, you're just like, oh, there's Lex Luthor being Lex Luthor again, the evil villain. But then when the crime syndicate come in, now it becomes the lesser of the two evils. The crime syndicate, who really want to basically destroy and control the whole world, and Lex Luthor, who in his mind still wants, he might want to rule the world, but he still wants there to be a world to rule, and to be, like, he doesn't want to destroy the status quo and to destroy everything and cause the deaths of millions of people like the crime syndicate does. Hey, he wouldn't a heartbeat if it got him to the place where he wanted to be, but he doesn't want to do that, you know? He's the type of character, the ends justify the means, but the means need to be worth it in order to go through the ends. And in the hands of a less capable writer, this really could have been a book where you don't really like anyone, you don't like your protagonist, you don't like the antagonist, you just hate everyone. However, since this is written by my favorite writer, Geoff Johns, that's not the case. Geoff Johns does really well portray Lex Luthor's charm and charisma, and and his own logic, and why, you know, we can see him as the sympathetic protagonist rather than just the antagonist that's fighting another antagonist. Throughout this book, Lex Luthor basically gets himself a team of supervillains to help fight the crime syndicate. It is Lex Luthor, Bizarro, who of course is the clone of Superman, And I like how they make that Lex Luthor was cloning Bizarro, and he was gonna make a perfect clone of Bizarro, Bizarro was gonna be a perfect clone of Superman until Lex Luthor just ran out of time, because he says, man, I need 5 more years. I need 5 more years till this thing is ready, but we have all of these super crazy evil Justice League versions running around. I can't wait that long. So he opens it up, and we get the classic Bizarro. Not so much the opposite anything, but strength of Superman, but mind of a child. An insane child who's in desperate need of some medicine. But not Joker-level crazy, just unintelligent, and it's really funny that how he and Bizarro play off of each other. Because, you know, it's always been interesting with Bizarro, and to have the super intelligent, super smart Lex Luthor team up with Bizarro, and he has to, Lex Luthor sometimes has to lower himself to Bizarro's level in order for Bizarro to get himself to work with Lex, and that is actually really quite funny. Then we got Captain Cold, and I will be talking about my utter giddiness and how they did Captain Cold in this. Because, for those who don't know, I'm a humongous Captain Cold fan. I love the way he's being portrayed in Flash. I love the way he is just... I love him as a character. He's a great character. We got Sinestro coming in, and I was shocked to see Sinestro, because out of all the characters, this was the one that I was not expecting to see to come in this book, because Sinestro's off in space, doing space Sinestro stuff. Why on earth would he bother with Earth? And then we got, but the way they write him in there, it was well done, and it's really good. And we have also... Black Adam, we have Black Manta, who is now enraged with the crime syndicate because they took away the one thing that he wanted, which was revenge on Aquaman. And as soon as they killed Aquaman, they basically took away his drive, his soul being, his victory, and so now he wants every single one of them dead. It's really interesting how Black Manta plays off of everything else, because he's so stone cold. You know, like Lex Luthor is a stone cold killer, and so is Black Adam, but... You know, Lex Luthor will occasionally make a joke, or he's very, you know, lighthearted and charming. Black Manta is always just thinking about death, which makes him such a contrast, because Cold kind of wants to buddy-buddy with Black Manta, say, hey, you know, what's up? And Black Manta's like, I want each of them, every one of them bleeding at my blade. I want their throats slit. And Cold's like, hey, chill! And yes, that pun was totally intended. And then later in the book, we find out that not all of the heroes are dead. We actually have both Batman and Catwoman who survive their encounter and then bridges an uneasy alliance with Lex Luthor, which leads to some very interesting scenarios and a lot of interesting stuff going on with that and what's going on with the crime syndicate. One of the things that Geoff Johns does so well, and I commend him for this because it is such a thing that other other creators, they're trying to make their books more realistic, right? Get away from the cheesy stuff. But what Geoff Johns does is he takes the cheesy stuff and he makes it darker and, you know, makes it more realistic in a way. Like, for example, we have evil Superman, Ultraman. Now, Ultraman in this, he's the opposite of Superman. So what gives Superman his powers in our universe? The sun. So for Ultraman, he has to always stay out of the sun or else the sun takes away his powers. Interesting, you think, so you're like, well, then what gives him his powers? It's kryptonite. Now, when you think, oh, what, is he going to have to eat kryptonite? Like, I eat my crypto, I'm cut by the Ultraman. Wah, wah. No. What he does is he crushes it and snorts it like it's a drug. And so he's absolutely addicted to power and control. And that is such a great parallel when you have someone like Superman, who is all about using his power for good. This guy is addicted to the power and using it to be the strongest and the biggest douchebag out there, basically. Then we got the Flash's alternate version of him called Johnny Quick. Now, for the Flash, he's always been one of these characters that he's always, despite being the fastest man alive, he's always been the last one to a meeting because he's always helping people along the way. Since he's running and he doesn't just fly over people, he's always, like, Flash is the type of superhero that if he's running to a Justice League meeting and he sees somebody with a flat tire, he'll pull over and give the guy a hand and say, how are you doing today? day. It's a nice day out, isn't it? He's that type of character. So for the opposite, making Johnny Quick, he's the type of character that will just stop and kill people for no reason. He'll just kill random people, and he and Atomica, who is the female, what we thought was the Atom of this universe, who was a woman. No, basically she is the Atom of the other universe, who's a woman. She's called, like, Atomica, I think it is. And she and him are both psychos, and they love killing people. And it is such a interesting thing for these two. And I love the parallels with the Flash, how instead of being someone who's always there to help the random person, he's always there to kill the random person. Then we got stuff like Owlman, who is, Owlman is surprisingly not that different from Batman. He's just on the evil side. He's like Batman gone over the edge, gone to those extremes that he would never want to. Then we have Superwoman, which is actually Lois Lane, which I'm interested with that. That's kind of cool. But the thing that I love about her is we got Wonder Woman, who is a peaceful person, always encouraging others, always bringing them together, and using violence as a last resort. Of course, that's how she should be. Jeff Johns didn't write her that well in the first Justice League origin. She was like Thor, always wanting to cut something. But Wonder Woman done well to her core. She is a kind woman, always bringing others together and using her strength to uplift others. Superwoman in this, she is the opposite in the way where she's manipulating each other. She's pregnant, and she keeps on telling different male members of the crime syndicate that it is their baby, and basically bringing them closer to her. But as soon as she doesn't need them anymore, she'll discard them like nothing, and that's great with the parallels with Wonder Woman. In any case, all of the crime syndicate are given much more depth as characters than they normally are. Normally, they're just, this is the evil Justice League. They're like the Justice League, but evil. But here they really dive into the opposite nature, and what is the opposite of this? Like Grid, who actually is the parts of Cyborg that Cyborg originally had just ripped right out and gave it its own personality. It doesn't know how to feel, where Cyborg is always... It basically is a full-on machine trying to understand humanity, where Cyborg always has been the half-human, half-machine, always wondering what makes him a human, what makes him a machine, and which part is he. In any case, the book does a really good job, and the other books that I've read, like I couldn't find it, but I have the Justice League that dives more into the details of the crime syndicate, that give them all lots of depth and lots of interesting backgrounds and interesting personas. But in any case, the heroes of the book are, of course, I don't know, Lex Luthor and his gang. This book, Jeff Johns knows how to do awesome moments. This might be a spoiler, but I don't care. There is a moment in this book where Jeff Johns agrees with me. This is Captain Cold should not have powers. So what does he do? He has Deathstorm, who is, of course, the opposite of Firestorm, rip out the DNA that gives Captain Cold his powers, just rips it right from his body. And I was like, yes! I could not tell you the smile that went on my face. I'm like, yes, he doesn't have powers anymore. Thank goodness. Look, I didn't care about the other members of the Rogues. Give them powers. I don't care. I mean, Heatwave should probably not have powers either. But in any case, Captain Cold works better without powers. And when they did that and they took it right out of him, I'm like, yes, okay, so they're halfway there. They're halfway there, because what Jeff Johns needs to do now is give Captain Cold a cool moment. Because you've already ripped off the powers, so now you have to show how he's cooler without the powers. And boy, oh boy, does he deliver. There's a moment where Johnny Quick grabs Leonard Snart and has his gun in his hand, and is like, oh look, you're nothing without your freeze gun. And no, without your ice gun. He's like, it's not an ice gun, you idiot, it's a cold gun. I'm the man who mastered Absolute Zero. And he activates a voice trigger that shoots an ice beam right into Johnny Quick's leg. And before Johnny Quick can even react, Leonard Snart kicks his leg off! Yes! That is how you write Captain Cold. He is very smart and will use your own, you know, you're thinking, oh, I'm all this, and he's like, no, psh, kicking your leg off. Now try to run faster than the speed of light, you moron. Oh, Jeff Johns, I love how you write Captain Cold, and I'm so thankful that you write him so awesome. But Captain Cold isn't the only one that has an awesome moment in this. We also have this character called Power Ring, who is, of course, the equivalent to the Green Lantern, who the Ring did not choose him because he was someone who overcame fear. It chose him because he was a coward, and it feeds off of his fear and destroys him. And like the Ring, instead of saying, like, you know, 20% charge left, it'll be like, 20% charge left, you moron, you stupid worthless piece of garbage. You know, it's demoralizing, and it's infecting his body, and he's afraid all the time, and he overreacts, and he has a really great moment when he faces off against Sinestro, and it's, you know, that's great. We also have later in the book with Batman and Lex Luthor having to come to terms that here's something that this book does really well, okay? It takes Batman down a peg. And for me, being a Batman fan, you think I'd be pissed at something like that? But no, I am glad. Because Batman has always had this kind of problem recently where he's written like nobody can ever outsmart him, and he's always the smartest in the room, and he's just better than everyone, and you know it and I know it, and he's Batman. Which is all fine, it's great. Look, I like it when Batman's written like that, but it is always good to bring him down a peg sometimes. There is a moment in this book where Batman, Catwoman, and the other villains are all facing off, and they're discussing their plans, and Batman says, look, if we're working together, I'm calling the shots. Nobody dies, nobody murders anybody, I am in charge. And all the villains look at him. And if this was some second stringers villains, maybe they would listen to him. But these aren't second stringer villains. These are the top tier villains. And they're not going to just sit back and let Batman demand everything. And they just look at him like, you think you're in charge? You are the master strategist. Look at your scenario right now. Who is in charge? And then Catwoman goes right up to Batman and says, Batman, I think they're in charge. And she's right. She's right. At that moment, Batman has lost control of the scenario. If these were like second string villains that weren't intimidated by anyone, then yeah, they would go along with Batman because they're afraid. These guys aren't afraid of Batman. And that brings Batman's level of control down, and that makes him more uneasy and more susceptible to make mistakes later on, which he kind of does. Complaints about this book. They unmasked Dick Grayson, and then he had to go on to this other super spy book called Grayson, which, no. I mean, even if it's good, I don't know if it's any good, but he's Nightwing, so leave him Nightwing. And the fact that they unmasked him, I don't know. I just don't like that. I think it exposes his identity to the world, gets everybody else in the Bat family at risk, and their identities would probably be figured out pretty easily, and I don't like that. I don't know what... I've been behind a little bit on my reading, so I don't know what explanations they're going to be trying to explain why nobody suspects it's Bruce Wayne. But I guess Batman Inc., everyone kind of suspected Bruce Wayne, but they kind of didn't. So with Bruce already kind of affiliated with Batman, maybe the Dick Grayson thing makes more sense to them, and they wouldn't necessarily suspect Bruce Wayne. But in any case, unmasking Nightwing isn't exactly something that I liked in this book. It's also kind of telling that in this lineup of villains that we have Lex Luthor, Superman villain, Captain Cold, Flash villain, Sinestro, Green Lantern villain, Black Adam, Captain Marvel villain, Black Manta, Aquaman villain, Catwoman, and Deathstroke, who later joins it. Deathstroke's more of a Teen Titan villain that's kind of become a Batman villain, but at least Catwoman is a Batman villain-esque thing. Basically, she's part of the Batman's Rogues Gallery. So we have all those villains involved. Not one Wonder Woman villain. And this really goes to show how Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery needs some boosting. We need some new characters. We always have these different events going on with Batman villains, like the Court of Owls or something. Why can't we have an event in a Wonder Woman book that shakes the whole DC universe, you know, introducing a new villain there? There needs to be a new Wonder Woman villain that's not a Greek god, okay? I'm just saying, even though that's part of her heritage and everything, I think the Greek god thing has been worn out, and I think we need to either use a new villain or revamp an older villain and give him or her some new stuff, because nobody's intimidated by Cheetah. It's just, no matter what you do with it, it's just not going to work. However, what else can I say about the book? The art is fantastic, you know? I mean, like, it's maybe not, like, anything super spectacular. It works in all of its ways. It's really good. It's just, like, it seems to be, like, a lot of the books are drawn this way in this sort of style. A lot of Jim Lee-esque style of drawing, and it's good, but... you know, maybe a little bit more style would have helped this book, or maybe not. Maybe it would have hurt it. But in any case, I think Forever Evil is one of the best event books to come out of the New 52. I hear that the New 52 is probably closing, and we're going to go back to the old universe with that event going on, but I don't even know what it is, so I don't want to be getting anybody's hopes up. I'm just hearing rumors and this and that, so I'll be glad when this whole New 52 is finally old piece of history. You thought I was going to say something else. Anyway. But in any case, I love Forever Evil. Great book. Great look at the villain side. And a great way to show off some of DC Universe's great villains and to show them in their prime and doing cool stuff. And Lex Luthor has an awesome moment in the end of this book, which is one of those moments I go, oh yeah, out loud while reading. And not many books can do that. Not many writers can get that out of me. Jeff Johns is one of them. I love Forever Evil. So in the end, I'm giving Forever Evil a 8 out of 10. Very fun book, very fun look at the Justice League and their villains and their evil counterparts. If you see this book, this trade, it's just Forever Evil, that's all it's labeled, I would definitely pick it up if you were a fan of the DC Universe. It's a great read, it's a great book, what else can I say? So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazyDude99, and be sure to leave in the comments what other comic books you want to read, and I'm going to be doing some catching up. I'm going to, instead of reviewing one trade at a time, I'm going to be reviewing some series. I'm going to probably review next the Batman series that I haven't missed, the 0 Year. Maybe Supergirl, maybe some Green Lantern. I haven't exactly got it yet. But basically I'm going to be reviewing some trades, some series of trades, rather than just individual trades, just so I can get caught up, you know, so I don't have to say, well, I felt this way about Volume 1 and that way about Volume 2, but I just want to talk about all of it and get it over with. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazyDude99. If I don't like it, it's not worth it. Adios, amigos. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.